and welcome to another episode of the M42 Adventures podcast. Again, I'm your host, Rick Trimmer, and I'm excited for this one. This episode is a little unique. We don't get a lot of women on our podcast, just the way it is. We run circles with a lot of men, and so we're excited when we get to talk to a woman who's out there doing some cool stuff. And this woman her name is Sharna Parker Brown, and she's actually from New Zealand. I've never met her. Chase tracked her down through social media, and she is an avid fly fisher woman. Is that right? Fly fisher woman and a hiker, and kind of blew up here on social media. She goes out a lot with her child on her back, fly fishing the rivers of New Zealand. And so I've been to New Zealand a couple times. I absolutely love it. She is Maori descent, and I'm excited to have a conversation with her. So we're going to jump into this one. Stay tuned.
No, we doing pretty chill here. I actually didn't want to start a podcast, believe it or not. Do you know anything about me at all? Have you heard anything about me?
I think I listened to a few of your podcasts.
Okay.
To get a grip of what was going on.
Okay. So yeah, I retired 9 years ago, and I've been traveling the world with my wife and four kids now. And I wanted to start a business that got people outside and traveling and the things that I love. And so I went to a mentor of mine, which his name is Ryan Mickler, and he has a huge podcast. And I says, hey, I want to start this business. And he's like, you're going to have to podcast. And I'm like, no, it's scary.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, I was nervous. And he says, but that's how you have to get your message out. And people got to, when we started traveling, and like I said, it's been 9 years, my Facebook, my Instagram was all private. I didn't work at all, just full on into travel. And so, I was very nervous my first one. So we've been doing them a year now. I'm getting better, but it's pretty low key, pretty chill, and just trying to get cool people on. Chase said he had reached out to you. I just went through your Instagram, and you're exactly the type of people that we love, ones that are out there living adventure and doing cool stuff and so inspiring us all, right? So tell us a little bit about yourself. It's Sharna, right?
It's Sharna. Yep. I'm from New Zealand.
Okay. What part of New Zealand? I road tripped the North and South Island for 2 months. I did the North Island for 2 months and the South Island for 2 months. So 4 months
cool.
Total.
I live on the west coast of the North Island. It's called Taranaki.
Okay. Is that by the west side of the North Island, like Coromandel?
So that's the east coast.
Okay, wrong side.
Yeah, so we're on the other side. We have here. We have a big prominent mountain in our region.
Okay.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't come here unless they're coming here for that mountain.
Where are the glow caves? They're on the west side then, right?
Yeah, they are. Waitomo?
Yep. We stayed there for a few days. My kids love that.
So you may have come past us. Waitomo Caves is like somewhere that everyone goes, but then I think you can maybe join the road that goes straight down the middle of the North Island, where we're a bit of you have to go around to get here. You're coming here to come here.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking. We stayed in Raglan.
Yep, beautiful.
Yeah, I mean I lost my I can't hear him. Yeah, something. Fix it, Chase. Fix it. Yeah, a little bit. It went different, but make it work, Chase. Come on, Chase.
Yeah, no.
Don't just sit there and look pretty.
I know.
But yeah, we loved it. We flew into Auckland. I'm just looking at my map here. And then we went all the way up to, what is this up here? I can't even remember the names. Taupo Bay. We went up there. But I mean, we went all the way up and all the way down. Like I said, 60 days on each island. It was in, I think, 2019.
Okay.
And loved it.
Yes. Did you like the North?
I did. I love the North. I did. I was actually asking my wife. So I just bought, so we're not done traveling. I just got back from Costa Rica. We just finished the road trip in the U.S. We did 6 months doing that. And I head to Hawaii for a deer hunt for a couple of weeks. And then I go to Alaska, which I want to talk to you about that because I have a fishing boat in Alaska, just a private boat that I go up with friends. And then we fly from Alaska back to Hawaii, this time with my family. And then we go to Australia, and then we're going to spend about 6 months down there We're going to do
Good.
Australia for a few months, New Zealand again for a couple months, and Tasmania.
Ooh.
Wow, that's cool.
So we love it. It's my kids. So they've been to 73 countries. My boys, my two boys, I have four now. My 4-year-old's been to like 30, but my two oldest boys, they started with me originally, and their favorite place is Australia, New Zealand.
How old are they?
They are 13 and 10. And so they love, the places that I notice that they love is outdoors, right? They don't care about the Coliseum or art or restaurants. They want to play on the beach. They want to go hiking, which I love. And then where everybody speaks English, that obviously is a big deal when they're playing with kids and stuff. It's a lot better for them to communicate. But yeah, I loved, they're so different. The North Island and South Island are so, it's unbelievable how much difference there is that close together.
Completely different worlds.
How does it differ? Exactly.
The South is, from what I noticed, the South is just huge mountains and fjords and seemed more remote. The North Island had more, like Auckland is there. How would you explain it, Sharna?
Yeah, I would say that, and we did this to a friend that just came over from the States. Because he only came to the North, and we were saying, oh, it's a pity. Everyone says, oh, it's a pity. But she was getting annoyed at everyone saying that because she thought it was really beautiful in the North. We're more like, our bushes are very different too. I'd say that, like, especially Taranaki, we've got a lot of ferns, a lot of panga. But then you go down the South Island and it's a lot of beech trees, big beech trees. So the bush is quite open. I'd say the trees would be bigger down there, but they've got giant mountains everywhere. Where like you look around, you'll not see a mountain. But in the North Island, we have 3 regions that have mountains, and they're like standalone mountains.
Yeah, I think if I had to choose, I would probably pick the North Island if I had to choose. He loved I was trying to think, is it Russell? Is that in the top? Is there a Russell?
Yep.
Okay, we loved Russell. And then we went to Hot Water Beach.
Yeah.
And there was a little guy over there who had built, have you ever done that train up the mountain over there on Coromandel? Am I saying it right? I just saw a movie where they're like, they called it Coromandel. And I was
it's Coromandel. But yeah,
okay.
right.
I was like, what are they doing? But anyway, there was a little old guy over there who had built this train, Chase. You should check it out. It's this little train that he built up the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And we went and rode the train up the hill, and it was so the glowworms are up there. Is Rotoiti? Is that on the North Island? Rotorua, yeah, where the redwoods are.
Yeah, that's here.
My wife loved that with the lanterns in the trees and.
Yeah, that's a beautiful place. Rotorua and Taupo, they're like 2 really good places you'd go where it's like adventure filled. I used to always think when I was younger, like, I'm going to date someone from the middle of the island because how can you be boring?
Yeah. There's so much. Yeah, that's. I was actually asking my wife because I think she got it wrong, but I said, hey, because we were road tripping around and we came into this town and there was this huge trout statue, which we'll talk. I know you're a huge fly fisher woman, and there was this huge trout statue, and I'm like, why is that here? And so we started Googling it, and it's like the fly fishing capital of the world. And I says,
you're in Turangi.
What is it?
It's called Turangi.
Okay. Because I told her, she told me Taupo or whatever it is, the lake, and I says, no, I don't think that's different, isn't it?
Yeah, but they share the same lake system.
Okay.
And it's just known for black. There's so many rainbow trout there. There's heaps of browns as well, but like notoriously known for rainbow trout.
Yeah, I had no idea. I told her, I says, if we're in the fly fishing capital of the world, I have to do it. So I went down, rented a pole, rented, my waders, and fished for like 8 hours one day and did not have a bite. I was trying to find a guide, but it was like the off season. And so there was nobody around, but I sat in that river all day and walking up and down it and never got a bite. But that's I'm not a real good fisherman, so.
Yeah, but also I can't say too much because I'm not from that region, but I lived in that region for a bit, and I don't like that because that's quite a fishing region, and those fish are always there, but you just have to get the right rig to get to them. Where in Taranaki, the fish if they're not there, then they're like someone spooked them or someone's caught them and stuff. But these fish are just continuously watching them ignore you.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I could see him swimming. I remember seeing him swimming, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And so
That would be frustrating.
it was, but it was, my wife came back. She went back to the house, and she came back and she's like, how are you doing? And I says, I haven't had a bite. I've been in the water for 7 hours. And she's like, are you good? And I'm like, I'm good. Like, I don't need to catch the fish to have this be amazing. I'm like, I'm happy. And that's what a lot of New Zealand is, it's just so beautiful that if you're not happy just being there, then you're missing the point.
What's the massive body of water in the middle of the North Island?
I think that's
like that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the lake that I fished.
That is that lake?
Yeah, well, she said I fished there, but I was in a river, but maybe, like you said,
Yeah,
maybe it was...
they think the river tributaries.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of feeds. I think they must run back to the lake and then run up the river systems around there.
Yeah.
That's why there's so much of an abundance. They have that same kind of similar vibe in Alaska. So they run to Lake Iliamna, and then they run to all of those other rivers like the Naknek and that kind of stuff. But they have huge rainbows in the States.
Yeah,
That's what actually, because I learned to fish over there and I was catching humongous rainbows over there. And then I came home and I just don't like rainbows at all.
Yeah. You've been spoiled.
Yeah, it's just like kind of when I watch people in like Montana and stuff catching little browns. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
pretty lame. And then I'll see someone pull out a big one and I'll be like, oh, wow, hold on.
That's cool. So tell me, so you're born in New Zealand, right? You're Maori, right? Descent. And so tell me how you got into fly fishing. Is that your passion? Chase told me that you love to travel, and what tell me about yourself.
So I do love to travel. Actually, it was traveling that made me start fly fishing. I was traveling Alaska, and then I learned how to fly fish in Alaska. A guide over there had said that if we'd done the washing for his lodge, me and my cousin washed their change out laundry for a whole season, that they would fly us to a barge, teach us how to fly fish, and then would get to stay there. And so we just did that, and that's how we learned.
How old were you?
It was 24.
So you just kind of wanted to go see something new, get out of New Zealand, and just found a way to do it.
I had a friend that came over from Alaska, and she traveled around the South Island, and she was going to do it by herself. And at that time, I had a real flexible job, so I said, "Oh, I'll come." And so we traveled down the South Island for like 2-3 weeks, hitchhiking, living in a tent, like the whole from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
And then she was getting married, so she invited me and two cousins over. So we went over there, and then I fell in love with the place. I went
over
back
there, Alaska.
Yeah, over there in Alaska.
Okay.
So
where at?
Yeah, so they were in Naknek, Alaska, so right on the Bristol Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a crazy region. It was crazy when I was coming from New Zealand. I was thinking, oh, it's going to be amazing. Like, mountains are going to be huge. Like, it's just going to be like postcard Alaska. But then I flew into Naknek, and it was like if you were coming to New Zealand on that thought that you're going to have heaps of mountains around you, and then you, instead of flying into Queenstown, you flew into Christchurch.
Okay. Yeah.
Flat, and like the
I
mountains.
was just trying to say, where is Bristol? I've heard of it, but where are you up high?
Bristol Bay is on one of the, what do you call those
Let's
things?
see, Bristol Bay. I've heard of it before, but
yeah, you would have heard of it because that big No People Mine.
Okay, I got you. Okay, Naknek. Okay, I see.
So it's a region that you have to fly in. You fly into a place called King Salmon, and then there's only one road, and it goes between King Salmon and Naknek.
I see.
And Naknek is like where all the commercial fishing boat people are. So that's like their town, and that's where all they live. All those people that are going out to the
Bering Sea. Yeah. Right.
And then King Salmon, Alaska is known for like all the people that like come and stay in high-end lodges and fly fishing. And so when I first went over, I was more, I have a family farm in New Zealand, and I was like used to really hard work and stuff like that. So when I flew in, I kind of was like, yeah, I'm definitely a Naknek person. Getting on those boats.
Yeah.
Ended up with the King Salmon one, and I was like, oh, the snobs. And then I just loved it. I was like, oh gosh, my life would have gone two different ways.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've never been to that area. I've been to so you flew into Anchorage probably, and then from Anchorage caught a small plane over to King Salmon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of Bristol Bay, but I've never heard of King Salmon or Necks. My boat is in Homer.
Yeah.
And so I'm over on the Kenai Peninsula. We spend a lot of time in Homer and Soldotna. And so we fish the Kenai River, right?
Yeah. Which everyone knows those routes.
That's yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And it's like it's very busy.
It is. It is. Yeah. It's crazy. It's nice. But it's a little overwhelming.
And do you guys fish for halibut?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll do a little.
Everyone that was kind of fishing in that area caught halibut all the time.
Yeah, it's the halibut capital of the world. Is their big sign. And my boat, it's for the ocean. And so, we'll go out and do halibut. And then if the salmon are running in Soldotna, we can drive over there a couple hours. There's a couple places I can get to that I like to go with my boat that people can't get to. And so it's a little more, off the beaten path and stuff. But I've never actually, I've fished the Anchor River, which is in Anchor Point. And it was actually pretty cool. I wanted to go fly fish because everybody fly fishes there.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how. And so we found this guide, and I remember we went in and it was like $200 a person to go with this guide. And a couple of people didn't want to pay. They were like, $200, I just don't want to pay, And I'm like, I don't know how to fly fish. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to pay him. And we end up, it was me and my mom and my dad. We went out fishing and caught all this, he taught us how to do everything, tie knots, what lures to use and what flies to use. And when we came back, the other people were like, hey, that sounds amazing. Take us. And I'm like, well, we had to pay somebody to learn to do this. You guys are, freeloaders. But that's kind of where M42 Adventures, that's what we do, is take people on these adventures and find people that are very good at what they do, mentors, and then it shortcuts you so much in life to people that know, like you said, you could take me to a river in New Zealand and be like, use this, fish here, park here, which would take me weeks to figure out and be frustrated.
Yeah, I guess that's where the side of guides in any country come into play, right? I'd say and that's the thing. I'd say Kiwis when you said the freeloaders. I was like, yeah, kind of like Kiwis.
That's hilarious. Only you can say that, though.
Yeah.
A respectful way.
Yeah.
How do we change that to be nice? We're very do it yourself kind of. A country of do it yourself. So if we could do it ourselves, we'll do it before we pay anyone to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, prideful.
Yeah, it's like the only people that are running that are getting money in to do guiding us here is like the people from the States that are coming over. I don't know any people from New Zealand that would just hire a guide. I'm just But then in saying that, I went to there's places like Norway. I fished in Norway, and to be able to fish there, you have to have rights to the water, and the people that have rights to the water are the lodges.
Interesting.
And people, so I fished in Norway, and it was crazy. I fished in Norway, and they have a 24-hour rotation of water, and I'm talking you guys talking yards, eh? Because I was going to say 50 meters would be.
It's about the same. Yeah.
You can fish to, and there'll be a post one spot, and the post where you finish, and you just fly fish that whole thing for 6 hours, and then your next rotation comes, and you drive somewhere else.
Whoa, that's
wild.
Can't go
any further. And yeah, it's crazy to me.
Wow, I've been all over, and I've never heard of that concept. So that's basically lease the river.
Lease the water. Yeah, they lease the water.
For the water for 6 hours, 8 hours.
We would be fly fishing one spot, and it's like a spey casting in Norway, and then you'll see in the next spot, just across the river, there'll be people using worms. And you're they're catching all the fish. You're really guessing your thoughts on just swinging over.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I went to Norway, and it was we didn't fish at all, but beautiful country. But that's crazy. Country. I did not know that. That's crazy.
But it's like that nearly I don't know many other countries that are like New Zealand. Like New Zealand, you can just buy a fishing license, and if you can get to the water without crossing anybody's land, you can fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything else. But there's that rights in Norway, in Patagonia, because I just went to Argentina, and unless you went through a lodge, I don't know how you get any, like you'd go from one bridge and you'd fish the land, but the water that you can reach, but there's so many access points through farms, but they're so huge. They're like huge. I just don't understand how you could fish without getting a guide there.
That's interesting. And that's what I tell people, it's like when you're going to these new countries, find people from there, and find people who, we should all, and that's interesting you say that, where we don't do that, because that's me too. When I'm in America, I'm like, I'll just figure it out.
I do that in American cities. I find people, I'm like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah, and I do in cities, but as far as like fishing and stuff, it's like, oh, I'll just go buy a license and go figure it out. But it's like, I need to be better at, why would it matter if I don't know how to fish that river in, Colorado?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I not find somebody? I do it in Alaska because it feels far away and foreign, but yeah, I think more people should utilize that. I think it would be a lot less. I actually had, what was his name? That was the
JB.
Yeah, I had a huge
Kraken bass.
Kraken bass. He's a huge number one
bass fisher
in Utah.
Big mouth bass.
And he was on.
That's the thing over there, right?
Yeah, and he was talking. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, and he was talking about how he says, a lot of dads take their kids out and everybody's frustrated and ornery and not catching anything. And he says, if you went out with me for the day, I could teach you how to catch fish in most of Utah's waters, and it would change your whole life of fishing with your boys. And I'm like, done. I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, I always say that to people that are coming over. Like, if you know how to trout fish, like, I'd say you'd be pretty good off. Get a van, go trout fishing. But if you're trying to get a certain fish or a certain type, like if you're trophy hunting, I would always suggest get a guide.
Yeah.
Like, because the trophy trout over here, like, is a 10-pound brown. And most, like, there's guides that certainly just go for that kind of fish. And I'd say that getting a guide to get them, you'd have better chances.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because I mean, you can see let me turn this. Am I gonna mess this up, Chase? This is my office, so I don't know how.
Wow.
So I've got I've got all my critters in here and stuff like that, and I love hunting. I love fishing, but I've never thought about it as fishing as like trophies. As I've never thought about that really, but it's like, yeah, you can go out there and drop a pole and maybe catch a little fish, but if you want to catch a brown or a rainbow or a brook or a, whatever, and you want it to be this size, where the holes are, where that would be more likely. That's actually a really good point for people to hear.
Yeah. It's like if you went out hunting, right?
Exactly. That's where I take it.
Where the big ones are.
Yeah, it's like I could go up there and shoot a deer, but it's not going to be a mature deer, but you can go to some of these people that know where that deer's at. I'd never thought about that with fish. Have you, Chase? That's interesting. That's a good point, because when you come somewhere, you'd like to, there are certain things that you want to check off your list. And I've never really thought about it in the fish world as trophies or this species or things like that. So what's that? Yeah. Food. Yeah.
Yeah. The food.
Yeah.
And that's a funny part as well, because the concept of catch and release in New Zealand is like really hard to understand.
Really? They keep it all?
Because they want to keep it all. Like, I'd go be at my granddad's and I'd be like, I'm going fishing for the day. And then I'd come back and he'd be like, oh, you didn't catch any fish? And I'd be like, yeah, I did. And he's like, well, where are they? And I was like, oh, I just put them back. And he's like, what do you mean you put them back? And it's like, what? She's crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I say. It's like, oh, I threw them all back. It's like they know I'm lying. I didn't catch anything, but that's funny.
Mine was like, they're like, why do you do that? And I was like, because brown trout are residential, or maybe rainbows are the same, but and so they are always kind of in that same pool that you caught them in. And so,
interesting.
As a guide, if people are paying you to catch fish, it's more beneficial to know where the fish are.
Yeah.
That they could catch, rather than killing all the fish and then being like, well, where the hell are they all?
Yeah, absolutely. And sustainability, that's a huge thing as well. If everybody keeps everything.
In my region, there's not much fish either.
Yeah,
so
right.
You're walking for a while before you see a fish.
Do they plant them in New Zealand? Do they plant them into the lakes? I'm sure, right? They drop.
Yeah, they're all they've been introduced years ago. We've got a German strain that's got like red dots on it.
Okay.
And then I don't know.
So they don't do it every year. They don't plant them every year.
Not that I know of, but I mean they might.
Okay. Yeah, in Utah they do a lot of planting.
Really dig into it.
Yeah. So
you can
you're,
go down,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah, you can go down the rabbit hole pretty far on.
down the rabbit hole. I never got there. I think I had too much hobbies to go down the rabbit hole for one.
Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
you're in Alaska, you're 24, you're out there on this new adventure, and then you hadn't fly fished before, right? Had you?
Hadn't, never.
Never
Never
had,
got.
and these guys took you out and you were just hooked. You just all in. Is that your big passion, is fly fishing? Is that what you love?
Yeah, I love fly fishing. I like hiking as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say that fly fishing is a lot. Oh, they're not easier, but I've hiked a lot about around here, so fly fishing is pretty exciting.
Rivers
So
are
we,
usually a little
it's the
flatter and a
weirdest.
little, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, the rivers are usually a little bit easier, right?
Yeah,
My brother's a huge, when I was actually in New Zealand and I was on the South Island, and my brother, who is a huge hiker, came down to, is by is it Fjord National Park? Is that what it's
yeah,
called?
Fjordland.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fjordland. And he called me up and he says, "Hey, we're gonna come down there and we're gonna go hiking. We're gonna be there 2 weeks." And I'm like, I hadn't seen family at that point for like 9 months.
yeah.
And I was like, "Man, I'd love to see you and grab lunch or say hi." And he's like, "We're gonna be in the mountains for 2 weeks. We won't ever come off the mountain." And I was like, "Oh," and I never saw him. He
Yeah,
came, he
especially
came,
in the field.
hiked for 2 weeks and then flew home. And I was like, "Oh, well,
Mm.
dang it," but
I'm surprised.
he's,
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't go for that. There'd be a lot of deer hunting in the fjords.
yeah, yeah. And my dad had gone over earlier and done the red stag hunt, but, I, when I'm with my family and stuff, it's like,
Yeah,
I don't want to
it's a little
go.
bit different lifestyle having a family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'd have to leave them at the lodge and be like, "I'm going to have fun. You guys
Yeah.
wait here.
Yeah.
I'll see
It's
you in a bit."
basically like that. That's what because my partner doesn't fish, and it's annoying that he doesn't because he is a great caster.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's quite easy to take him out. We normally take someone out and they're just really horrible at casting, and it's just like painful. Well, he's
Yeah.
good at casting, but his reaction rate's a lot slower than it needs to be.
So he misses them.
So he's hooked a lot, but like just like before he's even set, they've
Yeah.
set it out. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's funny.
I'll be like planning these trips that I want to go on, and he's like, "Oh yeah, cool. Me and Riker will come." Riker's my son, and
Okay.
I'm like, "Well, I just want to let you know that like if you come, like you guys are staying home."
Yeah. Yeah. This is how it's going to be.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't want to be like that, but like I'm happy for you to come if you're happy to stay home.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, my wife actually asked, she
Yeah.
wanted to go to Minnesota hunting because there's some wives that are out there too. And she's like, "Can I come out there?" And I says, "I don't have a problem if you come, but you stay over there and I'll be over here. Like, I don't want this to, turn into that kind of trip, don't." But yeah, so I totally relate to that.
Yeah, I'm like I can dedicate a day to you guys, but like, but I want to like go out and hike into somewhere and stay there and fish for like hours on end, and I know you too, and you won't.
Yeah, yeah. So you're in Alaska, you start fishing, and then have you been back to Alaska? Did you just go there the one time or do you go
So
back?
I've done 3 separate seasons over
Okay.
there, so 3 summers.
Okay. Right in a row?
Yep, yeah. So
Okay.
I turned 25 on when I went on the 20 when I was 24. Actually I spent 3 birthdays there because your summer is over my
Right.
birthday.
Opposite, yeah.
So I went 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that, and then I moved to Olympic Peninsula in Washington State.
Okay. Okay.
Lived there for like maybe 5 months. I started dating an American actually.
Okay. That's down by Seattle.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
Olympic Peninsula is one of your national parks.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's like
Come
a
on, Rick.
rainforest. It's bloody
Jeez.
weird.
Okay.
I spent a winter there, so it was
Yeah.
even weird. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just a different kind of fishing. You're fishing for Olympic Peninsula steelhead, so just a whole bunch of casting and no fish really.
Yeah. Yeah.
The steelhead are known as the fish of 1,000 casts,
Okay. Okay.
and only if you swing. Like I guess people were catching them all the time if they were doing different methods, but we were like just swing only, which is spay casting. And
You were still on a fly rod? You were on a fly rod?
on
Oh,
a fly rod, but
interesting.
just a double hander.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that.
Spay casting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so it's a different method altogether too. And I probably enjoy it more than I do fly fishing, like just single handed. It's more, it's like you're casting out and then you're waiting and you just like have time to think.
Yeah.
And then you take 2 steps and you cast again.
That's
It's just a little
interesting.
bit slower paced.
I didn't know that. Have you heard of that, Chase?
No.
Huh.
Yeah,
Learned
you'll have
something
to
new.
look into it.
Yeah, that's rad.
Not
That's
even-
cool.
That's the same as I done in Norway. So from living in the Olympic Peninsula, we went to Norway and fished on that rotation I was telling you. Went to Norway for like a week. Went for 2 weeks, fished for a week. That's the same drama there. It was like, I think there was 18 rods on the water at the lodge and only 3 fish were caught over 5 days.
Wow.
5 days.
Wow. So hours and hours
And
of
people were
just.
casting for hours. But the fish, we were in the early season and the fish are known to be big. Not many, but the ones that you're going to catch are monsters. So that's why people go there. It's like opening week. But so that's good. The person I was with, they caught one of the fish. So it was exciting. I got to net one. Never ran so fast for a net in my life.
What kind of fish was that?
It's an Atlantic salmon.
Okay. Salmon.
Yeah, big like a king. Big like a king.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but between these seasons, I moved back to New Zealand. I learned how to fly fish in Alaska and then found out that we had fishing in New Zealand because everybody knew, but I didn't have any
Oh,
any
interesting. Oh, that's funny.
Everyone would say as soon as they'd
You
be
left
out there
you've left the fly fishing capital of the world to
Yeah.
go to go find fly
That's
fishing.
nuts.
That's awesome.
And I was like, wow, we have fly fishing? Everyone's like, yeah. And so when I came
It's
home,
pretty
I went
big. The Queen
Yeah.
came over there fly fishing. That's right. The Queen of
Yeah.
England came over there. You're like, oh, cool.
no doubt. Bloody
Yeah.
hell. It's
Yeah.
so known for it.
That's funny.
And I think it might be and don't quote me on this, but I think it's like one of our 3rd best incomes in the country.
Yeah, I actually had a landlord here like it was probably 20 years ago. And I was talking to him and he goes to New Zealand at that time. He went to New Zealand every summer to fly fish for trout. And
Yeah.
and I knew that. And then when I went there like 10 years later and I saw that big fish statue, I was like, wait a minute, maybe I'm in the area. And so I Googled it and they're like, yeah, this is the fly fishing capital of the world. And I was like, I have to do it. But he went every year. You know, he said he went there to fly fish and ride bikes.
Yeah, good. But we've got we're really good at mountain biking over here.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. And I didn't really, I had never heard of that until him. I don't know where I was but you're from there and you hadn't heard it. So I'm not too bad.
Exactly. It's like one of those things, if you're not immersed in it, you don't know anything about it.
That's how I
right,
feel
yeah.
about Olympics, National Park right now.
Yeah. Did you know it was a
You know,
national
I
park?
know, I just looked it up and I'm
Look
like,
it
that
up.
place
It's
looks
really
really
Where is it?
inaccessible. It's on an island, basically. Like
Is it like-
little part of the peninsula?
Off like on the coast?
So it like Seattle, it's like its own little peninsula. So Seattle's right here, and then it has the bay next to Seattle, and it kind of cranks down. Olympic National Park's in the middle of that like peninsula that
Yeah, you
enters the bay.
you can catch
Oh,
a
yeah.
ferry in Vancouver Island, Canada. And
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my parents were just there. My parents were actually they were in
It's
Victoria.
massive.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Lots of mountains.
And if
Yeah.
if you had daughters and they'd watched Twilight in the Twilight era, then they would know
Oh,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah. I remember my
Yeah.
wife talking about that. And I road tripped up through there. I just didn't realize it because I've been up through Astoria and all the way up the 101. And so I went through it and didn't even know that I was driving through it. I remember it being pretty,
Yeah.
but I didn't know they made it a national park. But
Very
that's
pretty.
cool. So you went back to New Zealand, like, hey, we got
we went to
fishing
a fly
here.
fishing lodge. Wanted to get into it, so I just went and worked at a fly fishing lodge down the South Island. Worked there for like 5 months, then went back to Alaska, worked and done that season. Then I came back and worked another season in the North Island in a fly fishing lodge, and then COVID hit.
Oh, yeah. And New
We shut
Zealand.
down everything.
Yeah, I was actually I had gotten I was on a cruise in Tahiti and we went down to Sydney and we were trying to decide whether to stay on that cruise and go over to New Zealand with some friends. And we're like, let's go home and have a baby. And so we flew home in December of 19, I think it was. And then
Yeah.
COVID hit 2 months later. I don't know, because a lot of people got stuck there. Like those countries shut down.
Yeah, we like locked everyone in, locked everyone out.
Yeah.
Yeah. My buddy from New Zealand was on his mission here. He never left.
Oh, that was the guy that
Yeah,
we
Leon.
talked to. Yeah,
Yeah.
he came into
Like,
the
never let
office.
back in.
The first time he went back was like 2 months ago, and he got here in 2019.
He was on a mission
2004.
here.
Yeah,
I didn't know. Yeah, I remember him saying he came over here, met a girl, stayed, couldn't get home.
Yeah,
was trying to.
Yeah,
and he's Maori too, right?
Yeah,
yeah, he's a stud. He's a good,
awesome dude.
But yeah, that you guys shut down, and that had to have been devastating for all those industries, hunting and fishing.
Oh yeah, it must have been for everyone. Yeah, it was. I was at a lodge when that first started, and everyone got laid off before anyone else in the country got laid off, because you guys shut down first.
Yeah.
We did, and so that took all the American industry
revenue
out of that lodge,
which were big. I'm sure we're a lot of it.
Yeah. So it would have hit the like fly fishing communities, all the things that rely on foreigners.
Mm-hmm.
But I like. And like, when I'll reword this, because I was going to say I loved COVID.
Yeah.
I like the lockdown. I'm from my family has a farm of 500 acres, and it's like beautiful. And we just went there every time, and we just done building.
And that's what I did. We had gotten home. So we got home, and in like December, my wife got pregnant in January, and then COVID hit March? Something like that, when it started going crazy. And I literally, same thing. I packed up my kids. My parents have a ranch an hour away with, just a pond and animals and fishing. We packed up and went and lived there for, I think, 3.5 months. And I loved it. I loved it.
No problems whatsoever.
Yeah, I was like, keep going, COVID. But
yeah,
no.
I liked it. It was good. There was barely anyone on the road. You didn't actually have to go anywhere.
Yeah, it was
kind
a
of
good,
exciting in an unexciting way as well, because you weren't allowed on the roads. But if you had to go and get something, it was like you were being a naughty kid,
breaking the law, going to get some milk.
like see the police, you're like, oh no.
Yeah. I was just going to get eggs. Please don't shoot.
But it was funny. Even our liquor stores started delivering.
Oh really? Oh, that's funny.
They should do that anyways.
At their house.
Yeah. That's funny.
Actually got kicked out of a bar when we reopened the country, but we didn't reopen. We reopened the shops, but we didn't reopen the country. So we were all. It was actually the best fly fishing I've ever done in New Zealand was COVID. You guys weren't allowed anywhere.
Yeah, right. No competition. The fish are not all scared. Yeah.
And we were allowed to travel, so it was great.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah.
oh, this is insane. All of our great walks, because we have a day, probably an hour, where all the great walks around New Zealand are open to book, and no one has not much Kiwis get to do it because that's always taken by foreigners.
What do you mean the great walks? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
So we have great walks in New Zealand that you can only do these hiking missions if you've booked them.
Okay. Okay. Like a lottery or I see.
Landing.
Yeah. Okay.
So normally the foreigners have booked them all up, but COVID season, New Zealand were doing everything.
That's awesome. Yeah. You got your country back. Literally. I mean, you did,
But we could go to nightclubs, but you had to stay on a seat. I got kicked out of one. You had to stay on your seat, so you weren't allowed off your seat. So
couldn't dance.
You're drinking with your friends, but we had this bar down.
That's funny.
It's like Footloose.
And all of the friggin' seats are cowboy saddles. So obviously everyone's going to ride around. So you're just ride around.
That's awesome. That's funny. So this is pretty recent. I mean, this is so you just got home 4 or 5 years ago. Kind of settled, right?
Recent.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Super
so
recent.
You're home. You're locked down. Get through that. That lasted a couple years, right? What was it? I don't even remember. Was it
3 years?
Was it 3? Was it that long? I know. Yeah, it seemed
to come out of it fully. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're so now you're out of it. What are you doing now? What do you do? Are you a guide? What do you do?
No. So what I do is I have a son.
Okay. Yeah. Mother. Yeah.
I have a COVID baby.
Yeah. Me too.
And I'm one of the 100,000.
Yeah.
Everyone got bored.
Yeah, there's nothing to do. It's like, well, bored. Yeah, I'm with you.
Then a month after having my son, my oldest brother has autism, and normally he has a caregiver, and he's had one for years, but she quit. She wanted to leave and get another job a month into having Riker, and I said, I'll take the job.
Okay.
So I look after him 3 days a week.
Okay.
And it's like over winter, he works on the farm, so I just go up there and I help him with whatever he's doing. He's like, he's got autism, so you have to be there to motivate him. Like, I don't believe he would get out of bed and make breakfast if you didn't get him out of bed and make breakfast.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. So that's cool. So that's helped pay the bills. And then just recently, I've gotten into trying to teach people how to cast. So doing casting lessons, and then eventually that will probably go into guiding. But don't really know if I want to go down that road anyway.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have options. If we get out there, we're trying to still plan everything. We go to Australia on August 10th. And I just bought a one-way ticket and planned on being in that, because it's winter here. And I was telling Chase, a lot of people ask, like, how do you decide where to go? And I'm like, I follow the weather, a lot of it, trying to not freeze to death. And so I was hoping to get over to New Zealand. I was probably going to be in Australia for, I'm thinking 2 months, and then like a month on Tasmania. So August, September, October. So am I?
Yeah, you're going in our winter.
No, it's summer there.
No, our
Isn't
summer
it?
is no.
Your summer's opposite of ours.
Yeah, so if it's winter, like it'd be winter there, and it'd be
In
summer
August.
there in August.
Yeah, so I'm going in August.
So it's winter.
Well, but it's going into summer, right? It's like fall.
Yeah.
Or spring. Spring.
Yeah. It's spring. And I guess you're going to Australia, so Australia's a lot warmer than us. But you're going to Tasmania.
We're gonna go to Darwin. I haven't been to Darwin yet, so I'm gonna stay high.
My brother lives in Darwin. He runs nightclubs in that city.
Oh, hey, I'll look him up.
Yeah, look.
Go dance in a chair.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys know that? Do you guys know the DJ Cyril?
Oh
man, I'm surprised you don't.
Which one? Which DJ?
Cyril?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Do you?
Yeah. So him and my brother are good friends. They DJ at the same club.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's awesome. I'll look him up. Yeah, I've always wanted to go there.
Yeah, they run the town. If you talk about that, if you're going partying, which you won't be.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Maybe I'll sneak away.
Yeah.
I would if I was you.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
We've road tripped it for a year. We did the east side from Cairns all the way down to like Adelaide, and then we went over to Perth and did a lot of that side.
You did WA?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
But I wanted to do the center, the red center, and I want to do Darwin. I wanted to get up to Darwin always, and so.
Is it good, really good fishing up there?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think if that's the right. I think they call it the weasels or something.
I know there's lots of like alligators and
yeah,
crocs.
there is lots of alligators. I wouldn't be going in the water.
Yeah.
But Australia's got everything.
And that's where my kids, we go out and we catch the animals. I shouldn't, but yeah. I used to love Steve Irwin.
Yeah, everyone.
He was like my hero, man. I love that guy. And so we go out and we do a lot of that stuff. So we went and did the Great Barrier Reef and all those things. But yeah, so anyway, that's my thought is August, September, middle of August to middle of October. And then maybe, anyway, I think I'd be in New Zealand like November, December. That's a pretty good time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fishing season.
Is it? Okay.
So you'll have to go fishing again to catch something.
Yeah, I would love to. So I'll look you up and see if you'll take me and my wife out and give us some lessons. And my boys too. That's what's cool. And now is my boys, when they went there the first time, they were, so it was 17 or 19. Maybe it was 19. So they would have been, 6 years ago? They'd have been like 4 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're 10 and 13. So they would love that, to go out. So.
They would, and I'd say if you're doing the North Island, typically Taupo area is such a family-friendly place to fish. Like they've got walking tracks beside the rivers, and there's an abundance of fish.
Have you been to that? Have you been to that McDonald's there?
Yeah, it was a plane.
Yeah, it's an airplane.
What?
It's an airplane.
It's like a McDonald's restaurant that's an airplane.
It's in like a 747 airplane. It's the number one.
Most visited McDonald's ever?
Yeah, or something. At once they have.
I'm wondering if it'd be up there in that list.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we go driving. We're driving along. I didn't know it was there, and I'm like, "What is that?" We pull over, and my little boys were, they have tables inside the airplane. Yeah. So there's the restaurant, and then you can go up into the plane and eat, and it's all tables. So that's Taupo, right? Am I in the right area? That's right.
Oh yeah, it's a great region.
Yeah,
it's a great region. It's so family friendly.
Yeah, we loved it. The people. where are the redwoods? The names are so hard for me because Rotorua we loved that lake. We stayed with this lady. I do like, what are they box? What's in New Zealand? They're not called Airbnbs. I think they're called box or
No, they're called Airbnbs.
what's that?
It is Airbnb.
Yeah, but they had a name for them too. They had like, there was a term for them. Have you ever heard of box? Is that a term? I think it is. Look up box.
Maybe.
Look it up.
How do you
Chase.
spell it?
BACH.
Okay, so add box.
Well, anyway, we rented these.
It's a batch.
Is that what it is?
Batch.
Am I saying it wrong? Yeah,
Batch.
batch. Yeah. So see,
Look
there
at
we
that.
go. There we go. I got Coromandel right though, so give me that. But yeah, so we stayed in a bunch of those. They had like, it was like New Zealand, I'm going to say box, New Zealand batches.com.
Yeah.
And we stayed with this lady there in her home. We were outside. We were in like a little trailer outside, but my wife talks about her all the time. She says that lady, like, for some reason left a really big influence on my wife. We didn't spend a lot of time with her even or nothing like that, but she was so sweet and so kind. And it was right on the, yeah, it was just, that's one thing with New Zealand. And I don't know if it's just because you guys deal with a lot of tourists or whatnot, but so welcoming, just such a beautiful country.
I don't think it is the tourist thing, because I just had a friend over here, and if you guys are looking for more inspiring women, her name is Cheyenne Orvis. She's like a huge fly fishing influence over in the States, Colorado.
Yeah.
But she came over here, and when she left, she's like, I can't get over how generous you guys are.
Yeah.
Because it was like, we'd obviously met online, and we went on a trip to South America together, but she came to our house and then stayed with us the whole time. And then we were going away for 3 days while she was on her stay, and we offered her our house and our cars to use while we were gone. And then we went up to my parents' farm and we were staying there, and then they offered her to stay there. And then she works with Ford Bronco. And
Nice.
there's a guy that has a Ford Bronco that comes hunting on our farm. And so he was just parked down the road, and I had randomly ran into him when we were on our way out. And I said, hey, like, I have a friend, she's staying up at the house, and she's with Ford Bronco, and I bet she'd love to, like, take this for a drive or do some photos with it or something. How do you feel about that? He's like, yeah, I'll leave the keys on the ground, tell her to take it for a drive, don't dent it. And then, so I told her that, and she's like, I just can't believe New Zealand, like, stay in my house for free, drive my car, you've never met me.
we were actually in Australia. And so we're like, have you heard of the LDS religion, Mormons? Have you heard of that ever? So I grew up that way, and I haven't practiced it for a long time, but I grew up that way. And I had a buddy who went on a mission, LDS mission to, he went to Australia, Melbourne. And so I called him up and I says, hey, I want to come out and see if we can meet up. I'd never met him. I just knew my buddy that he knew had passed away in a side-by-side UTV accident right before that. And I says, hey, I loved him, and I'd like to, he talked a lot about you. I'd like to come see you. And he's like, yeah, come out and see me. I'd love to make the acquaintance. And I just talked to him on the phone. We ended up flying into Sydney, and somehow, I don't remember how we got connected, but I don't know if I posted something or whatever, or I talked to him and said, we're in Sydney, we're trying to find a place to stay, and I couldn't. And he says, oh, my sister lives in Sydney, you should call her. And so we called her, and she's like, I'm out of town. I'm on she was in New Zealand. Her husband's from New Zealand. Never met him. She's like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. We're in New Zealand, but here's my address. Here's where my key's hidden. Go stay there. And I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, it's totally fine. So we get over there. And I talked to Perry, the guy that I'd originally talked to, her brother. And I says, hey, Perry, how's it going, man? Thanks for giving me your sister's number. We're staying at her house. And he's like, oh, you guys met up? And I'm like, no, she's in New Zealand. And he ends up calling her, and he's like, I don't know these people. Like, it was just a phone call. I was just saying, hey, if you could help them out, help them out. I didn't mean give them your home. And she's like, oh, sorry, it'll be fine, And we've since become really good friends. But that's the only place I've ever been where I'd never met either one of them, and they told me where their hide key is in their big, nice house. And I was like, man, these are beautiful people. And, New Zealand, and I know you guys don't like the comparison, but you're both.
Well, you're great.
Yeah.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, let's step away from this conversation real quick and talk about a few things we have going on with M42 Adventures and the Genesis. So, as you know, M42 Adventures, we are doing a lot of adventures and taking people on a lot of cool experiences. We just got back from Costa Rica surfing. We are headed to Hawaii. We are headed to Alaska this summer. All sold out, all done. But if you want to get in there and see how you can come on some of these adventures, you can sign up for the Genesis. It's our online community. Go to m42adventures.com. It's completely free, and it's an amazing thing. We have over 250 members now. We actually just did our 250 member giveaway, where we're bringing a husband and wife out to Southern Utah to stay at Elevation 40 Zion, a Airbnb here in Southern Utah. And we're going to go ride UTVs and shoot guns and go hiking and cook an amazing dinner with a private chef on an open fire. So lots of amazing things happening there. We're helping a lot of people. There's financial mentorship. There's mental health. It's not just outdoors and adventure. There's also fitness, things like that. So if you're interested in any of that and you don't want to have to pay for it, you can come into the Genesis and sign up. We'd love to see you in there. Stay tuned for more announcements. Again, we have a newsletter where we send out a lot of information, and you can sign up for that as well. All right, let's get back to this conversation.
But yeah, I absolutely love the country. I can't wait to get back. I think the reason me and Chase wanted you on and Chase had looked out for you was trying to find women that go out there and do these things that are just so unique. A lot of people are afraid to travel, afraid to, step out of their comfort zone. And so that's what I wanted to have somebody on like you that can inspire these people that they want to do it. They just don't know that it's okay or how to do it. It sounds like you're a pretty free spirit. I mean, you hitchhiked and, did some.
Hitchhiked only because of the American who I was like, we can do this, but don't tell my mom.
Yeah, right.
My mom.
Well, in New Zealand's pretty safe.
Now it like changed a lot for me. Like, I guess I was raised by a single mom, so I was never, you would never.
Yeah, right.
My mom was like, very, very like wary of men.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess when you've got to follow your intuition with everything.
Absolutely.
Intuition does everything for you. So if me and my friend, you had already got code names that we knew if we didn't feel comfortable in the car, we would be like, hey, we'd be like,
yeah,
oh, that
pineapple juice. And it's like, we're pulling over. Yeah.
Why is everyone safe name pineapples?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Everyone's going to switch it up.
Yeah. That's
it's always
funny.
a fruit.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so, and if one of us had an off feeling about the car, we both had to agree on it,
Yeah, yeah.
Had that going on, and I'd say I have that with everything. I trust intuition with most things. And then when I don't trust it, something happens, and I'm like, oh, that's right. I should have bloody not done that.
Yeah, right.
I was told not to do that.
Yeah.
But
overall, great experience. I mean, good experience.
Yeah, overall great experience. We had two very dodgy people that picked us up, but like dodgy in a way that we had a guy pick us up and God knows what the story behind him is, and we probably could have saved lives, but we didn't report him. Is he had because one of us is in the front, one of us is in the back, and in the front seat, I think there was like pictures of a woman and then a hat or something, and then in the back seat with me, there was like a handbag, and then we were like, oh yeah, like how's your girlfriend? He's like, I no girlfriend.
Oh, pineapple.
Or something's happened. Anyway, we end up getting out of his car like, oh yeah, this place is fine, like busy motorway, like get us out. And then another lady who just like, it's funny, she just despised me. I don't know what it was, maybe her intuition.
She's saying the word. She's all pineapple.
She was like, we get in the car and my friend's talking to her and she's really nice, and I talk and she's like, put your seatbelt on. I'm like, okay.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
But we're like, oh, what do you do for a job? And she's like, I get the demons out of people. And I was like, pineapples.
Exorcism.
I'm like, thanks. She's like that girl.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Oh man,
that's awesome. That's funny.
But other than that, we had some great ones. Like, randomly got a ride with these guys that had an avocado farm, and so they gave us avocados, and then
that's awesome.
A guy that was distributing chip packets and gave us heaps of chips, and then a guy that had two daughters and just rinsed into us about us.
About being safe.
He's like, oh, I only picked you up because I've got 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Them, I would have been so angry.
lectures you here.
Exactly.
You're like, pineapple.
I don't need this right now.
That's funny. Yeah.
But other than that, it's a pretty safe country. But in saying that, with travel, because I've traveled quite a bit, and most of my travel's been solo. But I got sick of waiting for people to travel, because then you never travel, right?
Yep.
So no one ever does anything unless you just do it. So
Yeah.
I started doing it, and I kind of went to areas where I already knew people were, other than like Alaska. My friend was there, and then I made a huge group of friends. So I could go back there again and be all right. Went to Japan, where my cousin plays football, so he was there. I had a lot of friends in Canada that I went to, so I just kind of went to hubs that I knew people were at, just in case you needed someone to call.
Yeah, and I think that's what's, a lot of people have so many excuses, and it's like you kind of just eliminated them and said, you know what, I'll go alone, and I think that's admirable. So many people, they won't go alone. A lot of people won't go with people.
It's easier,
let alone,
to go without people.
Yeah.
It's so easy to go without people.
I think it is, once you get that mindset of, hey, I'm just going for it,
Well, you don't have to make any decisions with anybody else. You just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's pros and cons, I guess.
Yeah.
And
But then you don't have the friend.
You got to find that friend that you can travel with, though, right? Because some people travel so badly together.
Yeah,
and then it
100%.
breaks up a friendship, and then sometimes you make a friendship, like the bond gets a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But then there's traveling by yourself, where if you're in a because I've got a friend that recently didn't want to go and do the Great Walks by herself, but or just go down there by herself. But I think you're going to be in a backpack as no one for these people that do this hike. You're going to find someone at dinner that night. And you're going to be like, oh, I came by myself. Well, so did I. And then now you have a friend.
Yeah, I just had a guy on last week. His name's Jerome Rand, and he actually sailed around the world. The episode hasn't come out yet. It comes out in a couple weeks or whatever. But he actually sailed around the world solo, 271 days.
You gotta be in a different mindset to do that.
Yeah, no, and he says, you can't put down your anchor because that's cheating. So it's like he didn't even go to port. Like I can see going to land and regrouping. He just kept going, which would make me go crazy. But he talked about that when he did the Appalachian Trail here in America. It was 173 days or something like that.
Right around there. And
he says the first 70 days, he says, I showed up solo, and he says there was hundreds of people, you just meeting all types of people. And then as it was like 170 days. He said the last 70 days he did solo.
Yeah, he wasn't around anybody
because everybody had fallen off or had to go back to work and stuff. But yeah, I think they're, like you said, get out there, and put yourself in these situations. Like you said, follow your gut. We've been traveling 9 years pretty much straight. Never had any bad experiences, thankfully. But again, if I see like a dark street, I'm not going to walk down it. I'm not going to go.
Exactly. You gotta think about it.
It's got to be smart about stuff.
Like I'd never and it's a little bit different for a woman as well, I'd say. But
yeah.
I'd never put myself in a situation where I was drunk.
Yeah, out of control.
Unless I was safe. Unless I felt like I was with a group of people that I was safe with.
Yeah.
I never went out and got on the piss. Where it's funny, my partner, that's all they do is go out and get on the piss. And I'm just like, it's just a different world.
Get on the piss.
I like that.
You guys,
I love the slang.
You guys are there to get the girls, and we're there to be safe. But that
just
really
hang out. Yeah.
In Alaska, because 80% of the men are even 90% of the men, people are men, and then the last 10% is women.
Yeah.
So, you go to a bar, there's only 6 of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and some of those guys, are pretty rough in Alaska,
Lovely people.
It's dark there a long time.
Yeah.
They don't care about their complexion.
Yeah, you come out of a hard dark winter, and those guys could be pretty rough.
Yes. And you're already your accent's already shining.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're already exotic. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Wow.
That's different. Yeah.
So
yeah, I can
think
imagine.
that would be my point of don't go and put yourself into a situation. Don't walk down that alleyway.
Yeah. Just like you said, follow your gut, be smart, don't take chances. There's no need. And I think that's good for people to hear, because so I'm the mentor in our travel channel, and talking to all these people about travel and their reservations, and and it's like, it's good for people to hear that it's possible to do as a woman alone, but like you said, when we go to places now, like we've been to New Zealand, we've been to so many places that now we are going to places where we know someone like you, like I'm going to come to New Zealand, and if I get in that area, I'm going to reach out,
Yeah.
and it just makes it funner, safer, all these different things, and so I encourage people to do it. Travel's changed me. It's my purpose.
Yeah, I love travel. I would travel a lot more if I could afford it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
from someone that wasn't in the housing market at all, didn't have any tie downs. I was just someone that came home for a month or two just for my mum and then would go again. But then I had a child, and then I got on the housing market. Now mortgages are a different thing, aren't they?
Yeah. And I tell people that it's like we live very simply even now, try to keep it, because I would like my freedom, but at the same time, it sounds like you've done amazing trips. I want to go to Argentina. That's a huge one on my list.
That's crazy.
That's everybody talks about Patagonia, right? That's
Patagonia. Oh man,
I've heard it's just insane.
It
Yeah. So
would be quite hard to be there and be a fisherman, but then knowing it my whole life for hiking.
Yeah. So you didn't hike? You only fished?
We only fished. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would have stayed on, but it's like, the drawingness of wanting to be home with your family is another.
Yeah. You had your son then.
I would have stayed and hiked.
When did you go there?
Just recently, so November.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, November, 12 days, no kids.
Yeah.
It was hell of this world. It was great.
Yeah. I go to Hawaii. So I go to Hawaii, and I'm there with 15 other men. It's a hunt. And I'm there for 2 weeks. And like you said, for a couple weeks, 12, 13 days, I'm good. And then I started getting homesick, missing my family. Yeah. Which is beautiful, Yeah. So it's beautiful. It's good to go and have a break. But it's also nice to go back to, my kids are everything. Yeah,
that's it. And I love it and hate it at the same time.
Yeah.
You've been such a free spirit your whole life. And then you someone and you're like, no, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, and we take them with us, that's, I mean, like I said,
exactly.
it's different, there's obviously pros and cons, but my kids have, they've been all over the world, and we just make it work, because I'm not going to not travel. I told them we were going to be done when my oldest hit his teens, which he just did. And I'm like, hey, we're going to go 2 more years. And he's like, I thought it was 13. And I'm like, I think 15 works. I think, let's do 15.
You can't even drive yet. What's the
It's I'm like crazy when he's older and he's like, this is what I've done with my childhood.
Yeah. And I hope he loves it. I hope it's something, we're going to hit another in the next year and a half, 3 months. We'll be close to 100 countries.
It's got to grow in their personality. So like, made them
I hope so. It's, I think, like you said, it's something that they'll appreciate more as they get older. I grew up poor. I didn't get on an airplane till I was old. It was just impossible for me I didn't leave the country till I was 36 years old.
My crazy thing about the States is, why do you leave? Like, why do you leave? There is so much things to do. I've been to Utah. I love Utah.
Have you? Okay. Yeah.
They're hard to find wine, but
yeah. Good luck getting a drink.
Yeah, I can show you where to do that.
Other than that, Utah was crazy. I went through like Arches, Canyonlands, was in Moab.
Did you go to? Yeah, I was just in Moab.
We didn't go to Zion. It was like the hikes that I wanted to do were closed.
Yeah.
We didn't go in.
When were you here?
Close.
When was that?
And I'm 20. It's my last year that I went to America. So, gosh, I'm like 27, 28.
Okay, so a while ago.
In reference, I'm 32 now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's amazing. Zion is, you got to see it. Zion.
I can see it. But like Canyonlands, insanely.
Yeah.
Down the Road.
Arches. You go to Arches.
Arches is great.
Canyonlands,
and we went through the Valley of Gods, Valley of Monument.
Nice.
Monument Valley.
Yeah.
Goblin Valley. Valley.
We're just like living in a car and had a Honda 110 on the back, and just like unhitch it and like drive through. It was just like one of the best trips I'd ever done.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah, you went to Bryce. Did you go to Bryce?
Yeah.
Right. That's cool. That's weird. That's a weird place.
We had road tripped over from the Limerick Peninsula to Utah and then back up to a wedding in Oregon.
Yeah.
I actually traveled quite a lot of the states. I traveled it when I was 21. I went in for like 6 weeks in a van.
Okay.
And I'm just like, this is the most diverse place I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just in Costa Rica and I was sitting at a zip line and I had my 3 boys with me and there were some people next to us and they were from England and I'm like, oh, where are you from? You know, and they're like England. And I'm like, oh, we love England. And was telling them my story and they were telling me their story. And they're like, you know, you've been to 75, 73 countries, whatever. Why do you leave America? And I'm like, honestly, we've road tripped America now for like 6 months.
Mhm.
We've been to all 50 states. But it is beautiful, but for some reason I think that's just that spoiled thing where when you grow up here, it's like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
It's so close.
No, it's exactly like that. You know, when I left for like 10 years and I just, you know, moved around, did alarms, cooked wherever I could. And then I came back and it was like this miracle moment. I'm driving in through, you know, from the south up I-15. It had just rained that night. So I'm coming in the morning, clear skies, you know, none of the dust is in the air. And I literally looked out over St. George and I'm like, this is literally one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I just decided not to leave again.
Yeah. And I know it's pretty, but man, I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but I do definitely need to give America more. That's what the people in England were like. You have mountains, you have deserts, you have
Well, and here
rainforests,
you have all of it within an hour.
Yeah, it's very
any of
diverse.
it you want to go to. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
You just bounce around.
So yeah, I need to
I
do
hated
better.
New Zealand when I was young.
Really?
It took me going to Australia to make me realize I actually liked New Zealand. I hated it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say I was from it.
Yeah. See, I think it's just where when you grow up somewhere, you just take it for granted, you know, and you know, I guess that's fine. That's the way it is. But yeah, I love it all, but New Zealand is definitely a very beautiful country. I'm excited to get back there. My kids are excited. You know, it's been, it was one of the first places we went, you know, well, we left in 17, but 19, a couple years into it. So 7 years ago, it feels like forever. So we need to get back there.
We're so great. We're so far away from everything, though.
Yeah.
Everything is a 14-hour flight away. Well, like Hawaii, which is great. I've been to Hawaii a couple of times, and because it's like an 8-hour flight.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, because it makes sense.
Because it's my layover anyway. I don't want to be on a plane for 16 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to stop in Hawaii, layover for, you know, a week. And then we fly from Honolulu to Sydney's like 8.5 hours.
That's legit.
I stopped flying into Hawaii because I flew in there so much that one time they detained me for like 3 hours. And they're like, "What are you doing?" Like, well, you went to.
Did they think you were trafficking drugs?
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck!" Like, it's like I get an American. I'm just coming. I'll just go home and come back. So I just stopped. I was like, "Wow, I'm done with this place."
Yeah,
no more.
That's like whenever we fly. Well, not ever, but I'll grow my beard out a little bit, and I kind of look, you know, Middle Eastern. Not homeless.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Homeless too. But it's funny because I'll come through like the security and they're like, come on through. And they grab my wife. They're like, are you with him? And she's like, yeah. And they're like, we need to search you. And she's like, search him. He's the shady looking dude.
No, we know that if he was smuggling something, he would have left it with you.
Yeah. It's so funny. She gets so mad. She's like, they racial profile you, but grab me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. And at one time I was sitting over with the kids and they really took her like into the back where it was like, you know, off to the side for a couple hours, but it was a deeper search. And my kids are like, what's happening? And I'm like, we're going to have to find a new mommy, you know, and they start crying. And I'm like, I'm kidding. I'm like,
you're so bad.
Apparently you can't say that to a 4 and a 7-year-old, you know, but yeah, they didn't like that at all. But yeah, that's not fun when you run into some of those situations, but yeah.
No, it's just especially for the person that's picking you up, right?
Yeah. I'll be there later. Yeah, and I like when I go to New Zealand, everybody thinks I'm Maori. You know, they're
like
tan and yeah. I have like tattoos that look kind of like it, and they're always like, "What up, Rudda?" And I'm like,
they're like, "Kia ora, come back, I'm home."
I'm hi, and they're like, "What? You're not Maori."
Sometimes I'll put on an American accent when I arrive there, just so
yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Can we hear an American
Howdy,
accent?
y'all.
Oh my gosh, I'm so bad with like. I was thinking this morning. I was thinking I'm not an actress because if I'm really funny, when it would be one of us, and then one-on-one, and then someone pulls their phone out, and I'm just like.
Yeah. Whenever I do an accent, my kids are pretty good at it, but whenever I do it, I go Mexican.
Yeah,
like,
I'm like that.
I'll start a little bit. I'm like, "G'day, mate. Buenos dias." And I'm like, "What? Oh, shoot. I don't know," you know. But yeah.
would be like, yeah, I really start off American, but then I kind of end up being an Australian.
that was good. Yeah.
I used to do it because no one understands what you're saying in the States.
Yeah.
Because I talk faster, and I think Kiwis might in general. But I realized if I had to think about saying it in an accent, I slowed down, and then I didn't have to say it 15 times.
Yeah, they could pick it up. I'm gonna dumb this down for you Americans. Let me
I
slow
know
it
people
down.
from Illinois that are way harder to understand than
dude.
anybody from another country.
Oh yeah, Southern.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
It's
people
nuts.
they make like videos, reels on them, and they sound like that guy off
King of the Hill.
I don't
no,
know.
they sound like
Boom
that
Howard?
guy off like an Adam Sandler movie. What's that one with
Oh,
the good
yeah.
eyes?
Yeah. No, just like that. It
Yeah.
sounds like they're mumbling every single word
yeah.
or
Yeah.
their own language.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I always say I'm like I need subtitles.
Yeah.
I cannot tell what's happening right now, but
That's got to
Well-
take someone that's like a good looking 10 to like a 6.
yeah.
So I feel about Australians when they talk.
Just keep your mouth shut. Stay at 10. Just
Yeah.
don't talk. Yeah.
Just don't talk.
Well, I have enjoyed talking to you. I appreciate. How do people reach you? Are you trying to push any kind of business or anything? Or are you just not right?
Yeah, no, I mean, people can reach me on Instagram. It's
Okay,
funny.
okay.
I'm a very play on words person, so my
a good
Instagram is Inshagram.
Oh, that's funny. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Play
Yeah.
on words with a lot of things.
Yeah, I
so,
love it. Yeah, made it yours. Made it yours.
but that's how they would reach me. Am I pushing anything? No, not really.
I was
I'm
gonna
just
say, are
really-
you pushing any kind of fly fishing or any kind of like guides or anything?
I think
Because
they're more pushing her. Like everybody's like, "Hey, show us stuff."
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say I'm getting pushed more than anything. I kind of went a little bit viral and went from like, I don't know, 4,000 followers to now 30.7 in like
wow, that's
2
awesome.
months. Yeah,
Wow,
so it's
that's
and it's
cool.
also like a little bit different now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta
gotta be
really, like,
careful.
Filter yourself a little bit more.
Yeah. When I first started traveling, my wife had said, "Hey, we can, monetize this and, get sponsors and whatever." And I actually did let her. She says, "Hey, I have this stroller. It's like $400. If we take a couple pictures of it, we can have it for free." And I'm like, "All right, let's try it." And we took it to France, and we were on the cobblestone, and the wheels wouldn't work. And I'm like, "I'm going to shatter this thing." And she's like, "No, we got it for free. We got to take a photo with it." And I'm like, "I'm out. Nope.
Yeah,
Send
but
it back."
Never happening again.
I says, "Send it back. Send their money back. Tell them thank you, but their stroller does not work on cobblestones, and we're never doing this again." And
There's benefits.
we've held to that for now. But yeah, it's one of those worlds where it's nice, but it's definitely, you got to be, like you said, you got to be careful.
I was gonna say it's a job inside of a job,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know too much. I'm not in the industry. I've just got the following, I guess, to maybe think about it. But like, say if they had gotten onto your like adventures and seen, and like, say if you were to promote to somebody, you'd end up getting like camper vans and
Yeah,
stuff to tow
yeah.
your family. And it's
Yeah.
insane. It's an insane world, and it's like the future.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. So
And that's why I didn't want to do the podcast, but then they're like, "Hey, you have to do this." And it's like, I want to help people. I want people to hear these conversations and, dare to go do some stuff, get outside their comfort zone. You don't hear a lot of, women fly fishing, I don't, at least. And it's like, get out there and do it. It's a beautiful sport. My top 3 favorite movie. Have you ever seen A River Runs Through It?
no.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, I was like,
It's so good.
you should check it out. You will love it. Yeah.
I do.
I know.
I think most females have watched it.
Yeah. It's like, one of it's top 3 favorite movies, and it's a beautiful, it's just, you watch it and just look at the fly fishing part of it, and how he's like, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful,
It's almost like
it's like religion.
It's almost like a dance, an art
Yeah.
in its own form. Like fly fishing is
therapy.
very interesting looking.
It is. It's beautiful. It's like the hard. I always speak of it like taking 2 of the hardest things that you can do and putting them together when you fly fish with a child.
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Nice.
I can't even imagine that.
About patience.
Everything that's like they require the exact same thing, both things.
Yeah.
I took my son fishing the other day, and oh my god, and he was great, but nothing else was great. Like you
Yeah.
can't have both. Like
He
it's
enjoyed
very-
it.
Yes,
He enjoyed it, but it was chaos. How
He
old
was
is
like-
he?
He's like, why are
4?
you so grumpy for?
Yeah.
He's 2
I'm
and a half.
not. I'm not. I'm having a great time with you.
2.5-year-olds are so funny. They talk so much.
Yeah. How old is he?
So he's 2.5.
Okay. Yeah. I have a
And
4-year-old.
We're on the river, and like we've gotten to the river, and on the way to the river, he's playing with a digger in the car, blah, blah, blah. And then we get to the river, walk down through electric fence onto the river, and then I've got out and I'm casting, and he's like, "Where's my digger?" And I was like, "Hey, babe, it's in the car." And he's like, "I want my digger." And I was like, "Well, just play with the toys I brought you." And he's like, "I want my digger." And so I was like, "Hey, I don't want to go back to the car and get your digger. Like, I don't want us to go back to the car." He's like, "I'll stay here." And I was like, "Not staying here."
I'll stay here by the river.
Get my toy.
I'll stay right here by the raging river.
Yeah, you can't stay by the river. You're not allowed to be by a body of water. You have to stop.
Right. Yeah.
That's insane.
We're walking back to the car, and he's like, "Why are you so grumpy for, Mum?" I was like, "I'm grumpy because I have to go back to the car to get your digger, and you just play with the toys you've got." And then we get back to the river after getting the digger, get back there in the water, and as I'm about to cast, he's like, "You happy now?" Think of him. I end up
That's
snapping
awesome.
my neck, like within 11 minutes after that happening. I'm just like,
I'm done.
"Let's go home."
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like I said, when we travel with our kids, we've learned it's like, okay, we'll go to a park or we'll go do this. But yeah, to go try to, like, I went fly fishing in New Zealand, and I went to my wife and I'm like, you stay in the house, you take the kids. I'm going to go have an enjoyable time, So yeah, bless your heart for trying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I started fishing with him because he wasn't in daycare and I still wanted to fish.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that hard. It is hard to do, but it wasn't like, it was harder to not do it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
and
I just started picking spots, and say if I lived in Taupo, it'd be amazing because it's quite easy. It's an easy fishery. It's an overfish fishery that has trails right beside the river, and it'd be such a great place to fish with a mother. Our rivers are so slippery, like extremely slippery, that I slip over all the time, that now when I fish with him, I have certain access points from farmers that I can go to, and I'll drive to a point, and then I'll get in, and then if there's not a fish there or in the next pool up, I'll get out, drive to another point. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and be like, "Yeah, I'm out there fishing, I'm walking up the river."
Do you have him on you? Do you have him on a pack?
Yeah, so when I first started fishing with him, he was only 6 months old, so he was like in a carrier.
Yeah.
And I quite liked that more because he was like securely on my chest, and I like kind of protected him a little bit more.
Yeah.
Where now he's on my back, and it's like, he's not as forgiving. and he doesn't want to be on my back.
Yeah.
So
He's trying to grab everything and playing, and he's got his digger on your back. He's like,
"Oh man." I took a photographer out not that long ago, and he got some audio, and it's like the audio there's two of us, two mums, like very different mums from each other too. Like Cheyenne's very like, "Hey, could you please stop that? Like, I don't appreciate it." And I'm like, "Riker, you pull my hat off my head one more time and I'm gonna push you in the water."
Strangle you.
Yeah.
And he's like, the audio was just like, "This is amazing." And I was like, "Oh my God, let's not play any of that audio in people," because in the photos I look like a very gentle parent.
Yeah. Instagram versus reality. It's like, and the audio's like, "I'm going to murder you."
Yeah, I'm like,
you better yell pineapple right
Yeah,
now,
right
because
now.
you're in trouble and you have no idea.
You haven't learned safe
and he
words.
does not want to go in the water, eh? So if I'm like him with the water, he was like, "No."
Yeah. I think that's good for people to see though, like, because like you said, that's even cooler, because a lot of moms, they kind of shut down, it's like, I have this child and I can't leave the house, and it's like, no, you can still make it work. It's just going to be different.
Yeah, I have that example. Like, I have a few friends and moms that are like, "Oh, like I loved how you could get out with Riker and walk with him in the carrier. Like, my baby hates the carrier." I was like, he hated the carrier, but I hated being at home. So we had to find a middle ground.
Yep. Yeah. We just had a little girl. So we have 3 boys, and then we just had a little girl, which we were excited about. My wife instantly put her into a carrier. Just, the other ones, she didn't really do that, but this one she's put into a carrier. The other day, she's like, she loves the carrier. I don't know why the other boys didn't. I'm like, because you didn't do it. Like, you get them trained and used to it, and then it works, So
And her life wouldn't work with 4 kids, like 3 older boys and a kid that didn't like the carrier.
Yeah. It's like now, and that's, people are always like, we just left for 3 months. She's 2 months old when we left. We left for 3 months. Costa Rica for a month, road trip in the U.S. And everybody says, what's that?
That's the podcast I listened to.
Was it? Yeah. And people are like, how did it go? You know, you're gone for 3 months. You know, how did the baby do? And I'm like, she did fine because that's all she's known. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
it's like, how did she do in the car seat? And I'm like, she did good. We drove 10,000 miles. And they're like, my kid would never do that. And I'm like, well, you can't it's harder when you put your kid into a car seat at 7
Mm-hmm.
and say, we're going to drive 1,000 miles. They're like, what the hell is this? You know, this sucks.
Like, that's her
They
life.
got to know what they know. Yeah.
You got it. Yeah. And it's like, as a parent, you can mold it and you, like you said, grab the digger, you know, if the digger makes it, you know, work, then
And
walk
grab
back
the
to the
digger.
car and grab the digger and you're good to go. Do you know what a digger is?
A shovel? I don't know.
Oh,
It's
you
like a
guys call it
tractor, I think, like a
like a
backhoe.
backhoe?
I was thinking that.
Backhoe.
There were several things I was
Come
going
on,
with.
Chase.
You know,
I know.
it was either a toy tractor or a shovel.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
either
Well,
one of
digger.
those
Yeah, that
things.
makes sense. A
Yeah.
shovel. Yeah.
yeah,
Digger.
you know, like, I don't know.
What do you call a shovel there?
A shovel or a spade. We've got
A
two different
spade.
ones.
But yeah, so
Spade,
same thing.
yeah,
Oh, okay. Who would have known?
But no, because a digger is well, I just read what do Americans call diggers?
A backhoe?
Uh-oh. Is that...
Why did
Oh.
they change the N?
Yeah, I was going to say, uh-oh.
Slang, huh?
No, did you hear what she said?
No.
I'm not going to repeat it,
Oh,
but I'll
okay.
repeat it after.
Okay.
It was funny.
You can repeat it when you work through
Yeah,
the
yeah,
audio.
the edits.
Like, oh my god, this girl's racist.
Yeah, yeah.
She's a digger.
Yeah, see?
You know, it would have been
can't see
funnier
that
if
video.
I had pulled up something
So
else.
it's like an
and-
excavator.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you'd have shown me a picture, I'm like,
I was going for that.
Whoa.
Your backhoe.
that's
You're
what you went and
wrong.
got out of the car? That's not
Whoops.
good.
I think I could keep going with this, but I can't because then
Yeah,
Ricky
we'll get in trouble. Yeah.
Forgot
Me
that.
too. Me too. I could go forever, and that's why I have to stop. Well,
Yeah,
I
that's
appreciate you coming on. What time is it there?
It's 12:25
Noon?
It's
Like,
the next day.
lunchtime.
is it?
Yeah.
I'm in the
It's Thursday.
future.
Yeah, I always remember my mom always would say, "Don't tell me what's happened.
It's the future.
Don't
but
ruin
just-
tomorrow for me." And I'm
I
like,
know what's
"Okay."
happening, but you need to take a spare pair of pants tomorrow
Yeah, 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 yeah.
because you forgot to pack
Don't-
toilet paper. on your
That's
hike.
right.
Watch the news.
That's right.
Well, it's funny. I had because I obviously dated the American guy, and he came over and he was watching the news. He's like, "This place is crazy. Like your highlights, a sheep got out of the paddock."
Yeah, yeah. I was actually this is crazy though. When I was there, so this may date it better, but I was in Christchurch when that shooting happened.
Oh.
Horrible.
I was like a mile away in town.
Oh, that's
and
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy thing ever happened to New Zealand.
Yeah,
that you?
well, and I'm an American, you know, so we're hanging out and it happened and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh." And I'm like,
You're so used to
like
that
that.
sound of guns.
yeah, so sad. I was just like, it was really sad because it happened and people, it would change the country. I mean,
Yeah.
it changed it. We were actually headed to like I can't remember if it was rugby or, is rugby big there?
It'd be rugby. It'd be normal if you're going.
Yeah,
rugby.
so it was south of Christchurch a little ways. I can't remember the name of the town, but we were headed down there for a rugby match the next day and they canceled it.
Yeah, they would
Um,
have canceled. I was up in Auckland catching a plane the next day, or maybe that day or the next day, and Border Patrol was like nuts.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but yeah, it was crazy because it was, we were so desensitized, you know.
Mm.
I remember when I first landed into New Zealand, we landed in Auckland, we drove north like a couple hours and checked into our Airbnb and I went into like a Euro shop. I don't know what you guys call them, the kebabs or whatever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like a
Oh,
kebab. We
I
just
love
call
them. Oh,
Yeah.
I love them.
Everyone that
And-
gets them really drunk.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be a good
Only
food for
shop
that.
that's open.
Yeah, yeah. So I go in there and I walk in and I'm in this. I always try to stay in little tiny towns. I don't like big cities, so I always try to get out into little towns. And I'm in this little tiny town, apparently where tourists don't really go. And I walk in and I'm like, "Hey, can I get one of these?" And he's like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "America." And he's like, "Whoa." And I'm like, "Do you not get Americans here?" And he's like, "No, not in this place, you know."
That's
And I
funny
says,
one.
"Oh," I said, "Have you ever been?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm terrified of America."
What?
And I says, "Really?" And he says, "You guys have shootings like every week." And I'm like, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, I'm scared to go there. I feel like you guys all have guns." And I'm like, "Well," and I went out to my wife and I says, "That's weird. They're afraid of America here." That was my first like interaction with a New Zealander. And then, you know, a couple months later, there was that shooting there, which was the first and only shooting you guys have had. Is that right?
Yeah, it was, and it was an Australian that done
So
it.
sad. Was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It
I
was an
didn't know. I
Australian
didn't
guy.
remember. Jeez.
Yeah,
I remember, yeah.
actually, and I mean, because we love Australia as in they're our sibling that we're allowed to make fun of, but no one else is.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I like that.
yeah,
We're like, we hate you, but if you guys make fun of them, we'll be like, hey.
yeah. Hey,
It's like us making fun of Canadians.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Mutual
we'll stick up with the
respect.
Canadians.
yeah.
Because they're under our common flag,
That's right. Yeah, which I never understood either.
It's because
Like,
they let
it's
us
a
work that
different
easy,
thing.
and you guys don't.
yeah, you guys are under the Queen, right? Are you still?
We're under the king, actually, but yeah, the queen.
Are you? Yeah, yeah,
He's a king now.
yeah. That's right, because she passed, huh?
Need to change. No,
Yeah, yeah. Which is crazy. I never realized that.
Mm-hmm.
Is Australia? What did you say? What was so funny? I missed it.
Oh, you guys didn't pick up my joke at
No,
all.
what was it?
I said, it's a king now, and then you're like, oh yeah, I said, yeah, gender change.
No, that's when you said it's a king now. I'm like, oh no, they didn't. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, she died. Okay.
Yeah, she passed.
Yeah, no, it was
yeah.
it was one of those things where I instantly went to the transgender thing. But
Did
like,
you?
I was
Yeah.
like sitting here like
My pure mind did not.
I was,
Okay.
I was just like, she did
Yeah.
not.
Woman, you would never.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. But yeah,
No,
I didn't really understand how that worked either. Because you have a prime minister, so you're independently governed, but you're under their flag.
blanket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their flag. She died, and she had a son. Like, I don't really know how it works.
Yeah.
All I know is that the Queen's birthday is now the King's birthday.
Yeah, yeah.
As far as we go,
Whatever.
everyone likes the Queen, so I
Yeah.
think it was just her son, and she didn't have daughters.
Yeah. It's
I
King
think
Richard, maybe.
I think that might be the next thing that's going to happen as well, because he's only had 2 sons, but
Yeah, and one of them's gone rogue.
one of them's American, so
Yeah, right up with
Totally
the,
American at this point.
yeah, they like
Feels like-
banished him.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
yeah, well,
we all got our
he's
problems.
Yeah, we
American.
Yeah. Good luck.
Banish all of us.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
yeah, I don't even know what we're talking about then. but
yeah, I don't either. Yeah. Well, I was just,
We're
yeah,
talking about shooting.
yeah, just a sad deal, but
But Australian gun
to end on a low note.
I know, right? It's like, now where do we go?
Yeah. I'm not very good at this. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay safe out there. But
Okay,
yeah,
now-
my family kept calling. They're like, Rick, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I wasn't in
You went to
the.
church?
Yeah, what was it? Yeah, it was a.
They really just haven't really had that specific little part of New Zealand hasn't had like a great time. I mean,
Yeah, they
like,
had the
2
earthquakes.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Christchurch we got the earthquakes. They finally got over the earthquakes, and then they got the shooting.
Yeah.
So that's how it
yeah,
happened. But that's that one little section of New Zealand. Just,
Yeah.
I'm tragic.
Yeah.
That
That's
sucks.
yeah.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't be building any new houses there, that's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. Or build them stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if anything can withstand nature, right?
Yeah, for sure. It was a big one. It was like 9, wasn't it like 9 magnitude or something? I read about it when I was
It was
there, but it was a
Yeah,
bad
my cousin was there. And when it happened,
Really?
he ran
Jeez.
and jumped into the bathtub, and he's a massive guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't taking the family
Yeah.
in there anyway.
Like 50% of him's in the tub. He's like,
His kids are out there.
yeah. The roof falls on him. They find him dead. They're like, well, dude, you tried.
Yeah. Try.
Your feet were in the tub.
He's like a Maori Islander guy. So
Oh, yeah. Big dude.
like a bigly built. No, he wasn't sharing the bathtub.
Yeah, that's funny.
Nobody else is getting in.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got some tragedy there. We don't have too much tragedy. Big news things happen in New Zealand. That we actually have, and I won't get into it because it's like I don't understand it enough to talk about it. But our movement in New Zealand at the moment is that I don't know if he's our prime minister, but maybe he is our prime minister, trying to revoke the Treaty of Waitangi, which is is something that the Māoris signed and the colonisation signed to have rights for the country. Yeah, he's trying to like take it out. Well, it was an agreement between 2 parties and years ago, and now he's just like trying to make it like equal rights where it's not equal rights.
Oh, good luck
Big
with
movement,
that.
it's huge.
It's like there's
I
a
don't know
reason
enough
we
about
sign treaties, It's like there's a reason this happened. You can't, yeah. Good luck. That's a mess.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's
When
good
I was
though.
there, it was a woman.
Yeah, and she was great until she wasn't.
Was she? I don't remember.
Isn't it
Yeah.
weird how that
She
works?
was great. She
Like,
was there when she was great with that shooting.
Yeah.
everyone fell in love with her in that shooting.
Yeah.
The world fell in love with her in that shooting.
Yeah.
And then she started doing some other things, COVID related, and then I think we became the first country in the world to allow full term abortions.
Oh, that's
wow.
crazy.
That's crazy.
I didn't even know about that.
Which is crazy that she signed that when she was like full term herself.
No way.
And as a mother, I'm just like, oh, okay, cool,
Oh,
really.
That's like a whole nother. I mean, that's very interesting.
Especially
Yeah.
coming from an ultimate side, because Utah, you guys aren't allowed abortions, right?
no. Well, yeah, you can, but you shouldn't. I don't know.
but
We just
yes,
fall on like the idea that like things they're supposed to be alive.
Yeah, especially full term. That's
pretty
Yeah,
rough.
full term's nuts.
Jeez, man, that's crazy. They still
But,
allow
yeah.
that? That's still in place?
Oh man, as soon as I said that, I was like, I'm gonna have to Google this, see if it's still in place.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But my mum was really anti her, and that's how I knew.
Yeah.
I got the impression. I was like, oh yeah, why are you so anti her? She seems quite nice.
Yeah.
But I think
why.
she left by herself, which stepped down by herself. So must have had something going on there.
Oh yeah. It wasn't in the end of her term. She just decided she
Yeah,
better
she
go.
just decided to
Yeah,
go.
that's never a
Donald
good
Trump.
sign. That's never. She's like, I'll go now.
Is the best fish you've ever caught, like as far as you looking at it, finding its beauty, size, everything, was it in America or New Zealand?
New Zealand.
Okay, where at?
It's a brown trout. My favorite fish would be a brown trout. But the States, man, you guys. Oh, actually, an Atlantic char, like a full in color char.
Mhm.
I've only caught one full in color, and those are insane. I follow like guys that fish in Greenland, and like they're real big orange. They like come out orange. I don't know if you guys know what a char is.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen
Look it
one.
up. Very
Is it in the
beautiful.
ocean or river?
In the river.
Huh. Yeah.
But those look insane, and I've got one, and I remember that one standing out to me quite a bit. You've got
Is that-
moments that fish stand out to you, but browns, I guess, grab my attention more than most fish.
Yeah.
They got cool colorings.
Yeah, they do. My kid
I love
just
fish.
they
So,
just
like
caught.
peacock bass. You guys might know peacock bass.
Yeah, I've heard
maybe.
of them. Yeah, I've heard of peacock
and, like
bass.
golden dorado and stuff. I quite like colored fish.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
caught those in Costa Rica.
I
Dorado.
want to catch a mahi mahi, and that'd be insane.
Yeah.
Ooh, mahi mahi.
Yeah, I've caught one of those. I've caught those before, and yeah, I love fishing. Like I said, but I'm not good at fly fishing, so I need to get better at it. We did a fly fishing experience with M42 at my parents' ranch,
Nice.
and we brought there was like 30 people, brought them up, and I had a fly fishing guy come, and it was cool. It was on a pond, not a river, but everybody caught. I think everybody caught a fish, but I remember this girl come up to me. She was like 15 years old, and she was carrying this fish, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she says, "We're going over here." And we had a chef there, and you brought your fish over, and we'd cook it. And she was so excited. She's like, "This is the first fish I've ever caught, and it was on a fly pole, And she was so excited. So, yeah, I love it. I think it's a beautiful thing. So it's cool that you get to go
My
out and do
first
it.
fish was a chum salmon in Alaska.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
And they're like known as the fish that you get people hooked on because they're like big, they do a good fight, and there's so many of them. I remember
Oh.
the first time like wearing polarized glasses and like
Just-
showing up and not wearing them, and then being like, "Are you sure there's fish in here?" And then the guide giving me his glasses and seeing how many fish were in there. I didn't
Yeah.
know if it was more annoying that I knew that they were there.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. The reason you
anything.
wasn't getting a bite was no fish. Once you see there's thousands of them, you're like, oh, shoot, it is me.
It is me.
Yeah.
So that would get most people hooked, fishing for salmon. And I just remember like catching a king salmon for the first time and just being so excited that I caught this and we're killing it and we're eating it for dinner. And I was just
Yeah.
like that whole process. That's like the same. I've just gotten into like trying to do a little bit of deer hunting. Definitely
Mhm.
wouldn't probably say that to you as a deer hunter, but
Mhm.
we have deer on our farm and
Mm.
I wanted some for the freezer. So
yeah.
doing that very solo, very self-taught.
Yeah, I love it. It's like I said, it's not necessarily about the kill for me. It's just going out in the mountains and hanging out and clearing my head and getting off a screen. And if I can get some meat and take it back to my family, it's a bonus. But yeah,
Did you do any hunting in New Zealand?
no, I didn't. Mm-mm.
Because when you come back, you should try looking to tar hunting.
Yeah, my dad did that. Yeah,
is
those
that?
are they're like a little goat that lives in the tops of mountains, right?
That would be fun. I'd do that.
But
Is there
not
any
like a
Is there any lowland ones? Is there any like easy
Well,
ones
I
in
have no
meadows.
idea, but like
I've heard it's like a really hard hunt.
That's the point.
yeah, that's the thing I like about it is like you're in the mountains, you're way up high. It's you, the person you've gone with, and the tar, right? And that's what grabs me about it. Is just like, whoa, you're like so. It's just you versus them.
Yeah,
And
my dad said it's gnarly. It's a goat, right? It's like a little.
yeah, but it's like a long-haired goat, and the only thing I can I remember that they have them in Alaska, but they're white. But like
Yeah,
ears are so long.
yeah, like kind of like doll sheep.
Are they like the goats that they make cashmere out of?
There's mountain goats and doll sheep, but it's
Not
I don't.
cashmere.
You'd have to Google it,
Because
but I
they're
know.
long
They
haired.
don't
That's
make
kind of
cashmere out
interesting.
of tar,
I
but
don't
they
know if
make
they make
they
cashmere.
can make a rug out of them.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, and they have tar. You can make tar like eat goat. Definitely not the cashmere ones though.
Yeah, yeah.
But that hunt looks good because it's like the full adventure. You know, you're
Yeah.
up, you're in the mountains, you're sleeping in the cold, you're trying to spot them in huge valleys. Like,
Those things
that
are
grabs
cool
my
looking.
attention.
It's like
Yeah,
a
they're
goat
cool.
lion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it has like a
They're
mane.
Let's see.
It's nuts.
Yeah, I know my dad's done it I can't remember if he did it or wants to do it. Oh, wow. Those are wild looking.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I know they're really hard. I know they're like on the very top of the mountains, which I'm not a good hiker.
I'm not a good hiker. You just got to get fit.
Yeah. I know some people use helicopters and like fly in and
Yeah.
jump. Yeah. So, well, I appreciate you coming on. So, how do people find you again? What was it?
In Shahgram.
Yeah, in Shawgram. In Shaw?
Yeah, in Shar. SHAR.
Okay, Graham. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I've enjoyed the conversation. When I get to New Zealand, I'll try to look you up. You're in the west side, which I got to get right, my directions, because I'm going to be looking for you on Coromandel, which
We're
is
pointing
wrong.
to Australia. Our part's pointing to Australia.
So like
North Island.
this the same side that Melbourne on Australia is.
Yeah. Well, they
Exactly.
face each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, in Raglan, that's right there by you, right? Somewhere.
Show you a map here.
Because you have the glowworms, which I know.
Yeah, that looked cool. I looked that up.
Okay. Let's see.
If you're looking on my screen,
Yeah.
there's this part over here
Uh-huh.
that points over to Australia.
Uh-huh.
That is where we're from.
That's cool.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It was good to talk to you guys. This is the first podcast / conversation I've actually ever had, so I was a bit nervous, but
Yeah. It's good though, right? It's easy. Like, I mean, I guess you could probably, this one isn't too stuffy or anything like that. So
Yeah.
you did awesome. I hope, hope the women listening to this and men, but hopefully the women listening to this will be inspired and dare to go out and have more adventures and things like that.
and do it.
Yeah,
Cool.
do it. So I appreciate you. I'm going to stop recording now and then I'll
Thanks, Sean.
All right. So there you have it. My conversation with Sharna. Awesome person. I can tell that I think her and my wife would get along very well. Just a fun spirit, adventurous, living her life. And so hopefully you got something out of that. I did. I'm excited. We're actually headed to New Zealand this fall. And I'm going to look her up and hopefully we can spend some time maybe fishing the rivers in New Zealand or go on a hike. So check her out if you get a chance. It's in Shargram, INSHARGRAM. And great conversation, just a great person. Sounds like she's, got her head on straight, doing things that, a lot of people, they hold themselves back by finding excuses. And she sounds like a person who overcomes them. She had a child and she loves to go hiking and fishing. And so instead of just stopping, she packs him around. And that's what I love about people who have this passion and have this drive and they find ways to do it. Instead of finding excuses, they find solutions. So very inspirational. Thank you so much, Sharna, for coming on. That was, our time difference was huge. I had to stay late. She had to get up early to make that podcast happen. And I'm very appreciative of that. So again, thanks for listening to the M42 Adventures podcast. I am your host, Rick Trimmer. We will catch you on the next one. Hopefully you'll get outside this weekend and do something fun. Take care.